My name is Njoroge. We deal with construction, and we are hereby to ask you that whenever you have a project, you can always reach out to us because we are there to help you in this journey. Today we're going to discuss on commencement of a project, because previously we had two topics. One of how to get started, whereby you bring in the consultants, they make the designs, and once you agree, the next level was, or phase was now to get the project endorsed by the regulatory bodies. We talked about NCA, we talked about the county government approval. And now here we are now on commencement of your project, and meaning that now that you're commencing your project, you have looked for a contractor, one that is qualified for the magnitude of the project, and one that is compliant with the National Construction Authority. So we are now getting started. So when the contractor now comes in, it is now time to start with preliminaries. And in this one, you have to erect the holding. It's a requirement by the regulator that you do a holding for your home. For the site. You secure because the reason why you do this, one, it defines the site. It defines the site where this is your site, starts from here, and this where the project is. It also provides it also offers security, and it will help also control the arrival and departure of the workers, to control who enters and who leaves the site due to issues of even pilferage. You're able to have control of that. The other thing that this helps in securing of your site as well, and because you are screened off from outside, the people from outside are screened off from seeing the activities on site. You need to have that enclosure. So that is it. The next thing that you need to do is now erecting of or mounting of a site board, and this site board is also a requirement. This site board, it gives details of the professionals on your site, starting from project title. It is the one that starts from the top, project title, the developer, the name of the developer, and the consultant follows from architect all the way down, and then the contractor comes. So capture the contractor and subcontractors. So that is what the site board looks for. Shows. It's a requirement that you must have it when building. Then you also need to have site safety signs, at strategic places. Once all this is now there, you go to having other amenities that site requires. You need to have a toilet, site toilet, or washroom for the site. Remember, you'll be having workers. It is good that you also safeguard you pay attention to they need that, and for where will they be relieving themselves, so if you don't have a toilet. So it comes in at very early stage. The other thing that you need to have, ensure that you have clean drinking water for these workers. This is manual job, and they take a lot of water. A lot of water is needed for these people. Once you have that, now we go to we call them necessary site structures. Remember, you need to have a site house. Somebody will be safeguarding your site. You'll be a site man. You need to have storage. Also need to put up a structure for storage. You can do some temporary structures, that is for the toilet, for the washroom, for the washrooms, for the site man, house, office, and storage. Storage of your items, for your, the tools, and even material like cement. You need to store them. Then the contractor will now come up with a work plan. we'll come up with a work plan, we'll come up with the schedules of materials that are needed, and then from there we'll go to nominating of the suppliers. Remember, you need to, at least in early enough, you look for these suppliers and negotiate discounts. It's good when you plan early. And the tip that I can give here, when you're looking for, if it is a developer who is, because there are two ways you can have a full scope, or rather full contract, whereby a contractor will come and bid for the whole project, that is material supply and labor. And it's also another approach whereby you save, as a developer, you save some money, where you provide the materials and now the developer comes in with management of workers. And there you will save, because see, if I'm a contractor, you've given me your project, and I'm coming up with, I'm providing materials, rather I'm sourcing the materials myself, I'm providing the material. That it means I'll have to mark up. If I'm buying a bag of cement from a hardware or wherever the source is, if I'm buying a bag of cement at 700, I will not sell it to you at the same amount. So that is where we have rates. When you go to the BQ, it is rated. For BQ, it does not give details. It talks about if it is walling, you get per square meter. This is the much that goes to the square meter. As we continue with this, we will also be giving details, and we will also be interrogating these rates and see how they are, what they entails and how they come up. For example, if it is a wall, you are building a wall, you are given this rate per square meter, around between 16 to 1800 per square meter walling. That is machine cast stone, 1600 to 1800, around there, depending on the area. Or no, the location, the site where the site is situated, but it's around there. But you see that you have water that comes in, you have mortar, and mortar will be made of, will constitute cement and sand. That is what will make mortar. You need to reinforce your wall with hoop iron. So what goes to the hoop iron, what goes to this cement, what goes to sand, what goes to, and also you need the building unit. If it is a machine cut, you need about 12 pieces. Yeah, not about, you need 12 pieces. It comes to 11.6, that is 12 pieces. So per block you're buying at how much? So we will be looking at all these things. So what I was giving as a tip was, I wanted to say, for materials that you cannot count, like sand and ballast, the best way of approaching it is negotiating in tonnage, not per truck. And I want to give a situation, these things that I always come across when I'm on site. You find you are buying sand at about how much per truck? About, somebody will come and tell you, my truck, for me to sell to you, you need to pay this much, around about 18 tons, 16 to 18 tons, around 16 to 18 tons, around there is between 35,000 to 37,000 within Nairobi. So I will take the highest, 37,000. So if this truck, they generally can deliver 18 tons, then that is about 2100 per ton. 2100 per ton. That is, if I get it right, that is 37,000 divided by 18. Yes, we get 2055. We round it off to 2100 per ton. So I saw a situation, it was about the same rate per truck, CXZ, and supposed to ferry 18 tons to a site, but instead of 18 they were doing 13 tons only by measuring. By measuring I was able to come to know that. So 13 tons, then it means if it is 13 tons, it is 37,000, because they were selling 37,000 for 13 tons instead of 37,000 for 18 tons. So it is 37,000 divided by 13. So you're getting 2046 minus 2100 for 18 tons per ton. So a difference of 746 shillings per ton. A difference of 746 shillings per ton. 746 per ton and you have 13 tons, then it means that you are losing 9,698 in that one truck. For that one truck, you are losing 9,698 shillings. Now, that is a single truck. For one 4-bedroom house, you need about how many trucks? Not less than around 50 trucks. So 50 trucks, so that is 9698 times 50 for sand alone. In the construction of your home, for sand alone, you will be not having, you will not, about 484,900. That is close to $500,000. That is only on sand. You can imagine when we look at other components, other materials that come to your site, from steel, from masonry units, from concreting, from all of these, and even managing labor, because you'll be tackling quite a lot. That when it comes to fundis, what are they supposed to cover? For fundi, what are they supposed to yield in a day for them to get the pay that they go to? So remember, we are not doing this to punish anyone. We are doing this. We're discussing this so that we enlighten people. We give insights of how we can at least make this industry affordable, because it is not easy. It's not easy, and especially it's not easy when we are not involved. Personally, when Bigscope is not the one that is on your side, but when you bring in Bigscope, you're building stress-free, because you look at all this and we stand for our word. Whatever we promise, that is what we give. And if it is not possible, we guide on how to navigate through that. So now, going back to where we were about setting up, now that we have the holding in place, we have the correct structures, or rather the right structures in place. We have done them as a site board and safety signs, everything. Now we are about to start. Now, when we are starting now, it's the site siting out. And site siting out. Now, before I go to that site siting out, I will mention something, that site layout that an architect gives, it is also in the details, other than the drawings that the architect provides. There's that part, or a drawing, in the same set, that is called site layout. That site layout is very important, because it should guide the site. It should make the site orderly. So the contractor will be working, from the guidance of this one, that whatever goes where. Remember, I am saying this so that we do not have abortive works, and we do not have to double handle, because double handling is very expensive, where you bring in material, you place here, only for you to realize, there's some work that needs to take place around the same place. So what do? We get workers to shift this from here to there, and then you find out still you need to erect something there. So what are you going to do? You're going to remove this from here there. Imagine a piece of work like concrete casting that requires mobilization, where you find that this is where the site is, and you have placed your material for the concreting 200 meters away. My friends, that site will become, you might not even finish that project. You will bring in a lot of the work because you need to define, like we said when we were starting, that you need to define the scope, you need to look at objectives, you need to be guided, you need to look at time frames. How are we achieving this? What time is it taking? And how about the resources required? So we need to look at this. So now, going back to setting out, we need to set out. We'll do the profiles. Different types of ways of setting out a site. Like for my case, when I'm building small houses, I'll definitely do profile and use Pythagoras 3-4-5 method. That is what I will do. I will establish the beacons. That is where I start first. Establishing of the beacons. The first thing to do is establishing of the beacons. I will look at the nearby road, or rather the access road. I'll use that road to give me, I'll use it for my benchmark, and then I will relate. I will establish my trial pits on site, and take levels of the bottom, of the depth of I use the dumping level to get the levels, to know the levels from how they are relating now with the benchmark. So to know, this will help me in knowing when I'm coming up with material schedules for foundation. I will know exactly what goes to foundation. Sometimes you do this and realize, the method or the approach of this foundation, I think it is good that I involve the consultants so that we look at it, and sometimes we even change the design. It is very important where you find that if 30% or 20% is the amount that is supposed to go to the foundation from total construction cost, and you realize that this foundation is raising, the prices are getting elevated by maybe some percentage, about 10 or even 20% from what you had given for foundation. This one, it's an area that need to be relooked at, and this foundation sometimes you need to change. We change to make it the project feasible. I think the next topic is going to be on foundation and the design, because that what did we find on the drawings. From the structural drawings, we find that the depth of foundation is to be determined on site, and that gives room for valuation of variations, because when a contractor comes to site, sometimes as a contractor, not myself, but there are those that will just implement according to the design. But for me, I do it differently, because I will come to site and maybe like there's a site I will just mention. I realize the difference between the lowest point of that site and the highest was about, because it was elongated, the lengthwise was going along the slope. So we find the highest point, the part that comes next to the road, and the lowest, the farthest point far away from the road, had a difference about 2.4 meters. The difference, that is the topography, a difference of 2.4 meters, and the depth of this foundation was about 1.8 meters. 1.8 meters, that is the depth there. 1.8 plus 2.4, we have 4.2 as difference. Now the highest point had a difference from the road by about 800 millimeters, so plus 0.8. So we are talking about 5 meters difference, the road and the farthest side, the lowest part of the building. What can we do in this case? Because 5 meters, that means that you have two levels. You can have a basement and a ground floor, or a mezzanine or something like that. So, and you see, now you have to build and you have to advise the client. And this one, you have to bring in the people, the consultants. We reason together for the best interest of this project, all of you, that it is a collective responsibility for all of you to work around it and support your client, and that is what we do as Bigscope. Thank you very much. Every time you consider to build, talk to us, even for advice. We are there and we are willing to help. We are very enthusiastic and versatile. Thank you very much. Keep it here. Bigscope Building Services Limited.